watching Gearz.
You know, there's an old saying that says history paves the way to the future. Because if you forget where you came from, you have no idea where you're going. Now, when it comes to this country, most people realize who the founding fathers were and what their vision was for this nation. But when it comes to the aftermarket, most people have no idea where it came from or who helped build it. They just know that you can go down and pick up a catalog and order all kinds of cool parts pretty much anytime you want. But it wasn't always like that. No, there was a time when hot rodders were considered punks, and anybody that worked on their car was just a step up from the village idiot.
Contact!
Switch on!
Switch on!
Get under it! Grab that motor!
I'll get it, don't worry!
In the early 50s, the country was full of restless young men that wanted to race cars and go fast. And the competition was wild and fierce. And one of the fiercest competitors was a kid named Bill Smith. Driving a purple 32 sedan, he regularly trounced the competition at the racetrack.
So all my pals that lived around me were all 3 and 4 years older, and they all loved cars. So we hung around the gas stations together. We raced them. We did everything.
However, Bill quickly realized that to go fast, he needed speed parts, and so did everybody else. So in 1952, he opened up a place called Speedway Motors in Lincoln, Nebraska, and started selling speed parts. Little did he know that that simple action would have a staggering effect on our automotive culture. Just like the day that Buddy Holly plugged a Stratocaster into an amp and turned it up and changed music forever, Speedway Motors changed the way guys work on their cars. As the years passed, Bill continued to race and earned the nickname Speedy Bill. And at the same time, Speedway Motors became known as the place to go to get the good stuff for your race car or your hot rod. Then one day, Bill decided to start selling his products through the mail so he could get parts to hot rodders all over the country. And with that, the mail order parts business that we all rely on today was born. Over the years, Speedway Motors has grown into a massive, state-of-the-art facility that today spans multiple buildings and acres of real estate. When orders come in, they are quickly passed down so the parts can be pulled for shipping. And the system is so accurate that mistakes are almost non-existent.
When a customer places an order, it begins here. Our pulling routine begins here. There's approximately about 3,000 different SKUs or part numbers on each one of these pods. In the system here, we got about 12,000 different SKUs located here. Computers automatically know when we bring the barcodes up what is involved in every invoice for that customer.
Due to the size of the warehouse and the thousands of parts inside, sometimes just pulling the parts can be better than any ride that you'll get at a theme park. All right, you got your final will and testament, don't you, Mark? There we go. Okay, there you go. Bye. Jackie, keep your eyes on the road. Now that he's gone, you got the keys? He's got the keys to the car.
Need to change your shorts?
The variety of parts you'll find here is astounding. From the tiniest little trim or hardware pieces, all the way up to complete chassis and body kits so you can build the car that you've always dreamed of. Matter of fact, if it fits on a car or makes it go faster or look cooler, you're probably going to find it at Speedway Motors. Once the parts are pulled, they travel down a network of conveyors to be packed and wrapped and readied for shipping. The question is, what about Bill, the mastermind behind this incredible operation? Is he still around? Is he still involved? Oh yeah, he is still around and he's still involved. And as cool as Speedway Motors is, you've only seen a part of the story because you are not going to believe what he has got stashed in his other buildings.
If you're itching to get out and do something with your car or truck, fire it up and bring your family to one of the Gearz Autoramas. There'll be cool vehicles, a silent auction, giveaways, and of course, a tour of the amazing Gearz shop with Stacey as he shares what goes on behind the scenes. You'll even get a chance to talk to him about what you're working on. So saddle up and put the pedal down to Nashville, Tennessee and the Gearz Autorama. For dates, times, and registration, go to the events page at staceydavid.com.
Hey, welcome back to Gearz and our look at one of the oldest and largest speed shops in America, Speedway Motors. Now, we've already taken a look at the incredible facility and inventory of parts that Speedway has today, and the fact that they were one of the originators of the mail-order parts idea. But there's a lot more to Bill Smith than just selling parts. He is first and foremost a racer, and he did two other things in 1952.
Speedway Motors was opened the year that I graduated from college, the year that I got married.
Well, it's been a fun ride. I jokingly tell people that we know well that I haven't had a minute's rest since I met him.
And over the years, they have put together one of the most incredible racing museums you will ever see. Vintage sprint cars are the first thing you'll see as you come in the door. But these just aren't any sprint cars. These are championship-winning cars driven and built by some of the greatest names in racing. Experimental engines and parts by legends like Smokey Yunick and Mickey Thompson are out in full display to give you a clear idea of what these guys were working on at the time. Priceless Indy cars looking as fresh as the day they roared around the track are also on display with full documentation and history. Another area holds early race cars from the 10s and 20s, and it's amazing to see up close and personal the wild machines that those guys were strapping themselves into back in the day. A separate wing is loaded with speed parts for flathead and other performance engines. Intakes, superchargers, heads are everywhere, and some of it is extremely rare one-off stuff that you've probably never even heard of, let alone seen before. Since most of the parts and engines that they find are in need of restoration, the museum has a complete restoration facility to bring these parts back to life before they go out on the museum floor. If smaller cars are your thing, there are complete rooms of vintage pedal cars, toys, even tether cars. You know, they never had stuff like this when I was a kid. Do you remember the days of the old metal lunchboxes? Well, Bill's sons put together a whole wall of vintage lunchboxes that are bound to make you laugh and wish for a bologna sandwich. Now, when you were going to school, the type of lunchbox that you carried absolutely decided how cool or uncool that you were. If you went to school with Gentle Ben, you were a dweeb. If you went with Evel Knievel, you were cool, at least for another couple years. If you're more into 60s and 70s hot rods and cars, Bill also rounded up such legendary cars as the Red Baron and the Boot Hill Express, and a whole room full of modern hot rods and muscle cars. Of course, there's no way that Bill could have built an empire like this all by himself. No, he had a lot of help. Remember that girl Joyce that he married back in the 50s? Well, they had 4 sons, and that's the rest of the story behind the success of Speedway Motors. The sons not only inherited their parents' competitive spirit and drive for excellence, but most are involved with the day-to-day operation of Speedway Motors.
Having been in business since 1952, we have great rapport with all the manufacturers and all the vendors that we deal with. So they come to us first with products, or if they have an idea about a product, they'll bounce it off us and see if we have an interest in it, see if there's changes we can make to it.
Through the websites and that sort of thing, there's constantly updates and new additions to the instruction sheets and all of those type of things. So that information is available to the people to figure out, well, if I buy this, how am I going to install this? And they can get a feel for that on the front end instead of when it comes and there's no instructions.
We listen to the customer, and customer feedback drives almost everything that we do in the organization.
And of course, working right beside Bill the whole time with the same passion and commitment to excellence has been Joyce. And to raise 4 boys and keep Bill out of trouble all these years, that took a very special woman.
If anybody would have told us in those early days that this is where we'd be today, we'd have looked at each other and said, no way, because that's not possible.
Probably scared us.
Yes, it would have scared us both.
So the next time you need some parts for your project, you need to check out Speedway Motors, because they were not only there from the beginning, they're actually an important part of the history of hot rodding. And if you get a chance to check out their museum, you'll be able to see some of that history up close and personal. And you might even get a chance to shake hands with Speedy Bill, if you can catch him.
If you've got a cool project and would like to show millions of other gearheads what you're working on, you need to join Gearz Nation. This is a free, interactive online community of auto enthusiasts that will allow you to learn from, share with, and encourage others, and at the same time, show off your project. There are also premium memberships available for access to special merchandise and the entire Gearz catalog. If you're into mechanical things, you're welcome on Gearz Nation. And who knows, you might even see your project on TV.
You know, a few years ago, Cherrybomb unleashed a truck on the hot rodding world, and we had the privilege of having a hand in putting that thing together. The rusty, crusty D100 with the modern Hemi and Zoomies absolutely embodied what Cherrybomb was all about. They gave new meaning to their slogan, disturbing the peace. But the question is, how do you follow something like that up? Well, for Cherrybomb, the answer was pretty simple. Build a hot rod from the year that Cherrybomb started, 1968.
We put the contest on the website to either build a 68 Camaro, a 68 Mustang, or a 68 Charger. Camaro won by tenfold.
Now, even though Cherrybomb exploded on the scene in the late 60s, its real heyday was through the 70s.
I wanted something to kind of pay homage to that time frame. And what were people doing to a 68 Camaro in the 70s? Well, they were putting slot mags on it, side pipes, and probably a blower in most cases. So I wanted to kind of pay homage to that 70s vibe, you know. But at the same time, have a modern running gear, modern look to it. Phil Brewer at year one, I told him what I wanted. He read my mind and drew the car out exactly how I saw it in my mind.
Starting with a clean, rust-free car, the stock suspension was tossed, and a state-of-the-art subframe with Corvette suspension, rack and pinion steering, and massive disc brakes make this thing handle like a modern street machine. A heavy-duty Moser 12-bolt rear end sits in back, and a 4-link and coilover suspension hold it in place. Of course, everybody knows that a first-generation Camaro was one of the best-looking coupes ever built, so body modifications were kept to a minimum. And once everything was smoothed down, it was shot in a two-tone gloss red and flat black paint scheme for a very unique old-school vibe. Now, so far the car is very cool, but it's not that much different than 1,000 other Camaros out there. But that is about to change. Because for an engine, they stuffed in a Massed Motorsports LSX 427 instead of a traditional big block Chevy. Then on top of that engine, the blower shop put together a massive 871 supercharger and fuel injection system to not only give that through-the-hood 70s look, but also over 800 streetable horsepower on pump gas. To channel all that power to the rear tires, American Powertrain supplied a Tremec Magnum 6-speed and heavy-duty clutch, so this thing is a blast to drive. The 70s look continues inside the car, with houndstooth style upholstery on classic looking bucket seats that do a great job hiding the roll bars inside the car. The vintage foam steering wheel, the under-dash cluster of gauges, And the barefoot gas pedal make you want to put on some bell bottoms and crank up some classic Southern rock. But instead of doing all that, all you really have to do is crank the key and tap your foot. And 800 horsepower will come roaring out through the custom Cherrybomb exhaust and side pipes. This is rock and roll, man. I'm gonna go disturb some peace. And when you put all this stuff together, you end up with a car that has the look and the feel of a classic, in-your-face 70s muscle car with just enough modern touches to make it relevant today. And that is how you disturb the peace.
When Stacey David makes house calls in the big Gearz Nation truck, it makes for some pretty special moments. But if they can't come to your garage, the next best thing to do is check out the stuff they have online to help you out. Things like DVDs, wiring and build books, apparel and fender covers are just some of the things you'll find to help you with your project or make a great gift for that certain car nut in your life. If you're ready to get out there, build something, and then go smoke the tires on it, StaceyDavid.com can help you do that. Now, quick tip. Brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn.
When you're working on your project or around the house, eventually you're going to have to cut some round tubing. So you run down and grab your trusty dusty hacksaw and proceed to cut a perfectly crooked cut in the tubing that you have to go back in and try to true up and make right. Why? Because it's almost impossible to make a straight cut with a wobbly hacksaw in round tubing. Fortunately, there's a solution to this. All you have to do is take a simple hose clamp, slide it onto your tubing with the cut line on the outside, and then when you go to make your cut, the hacksaw blade will follow the edge of the clamp, giving you a perfectly straight cut every time. And that just goes to show you that some of the simplest solutions can be right in front of your face. If you'd like to learn more tips that will make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website.
And now, Parts Bin.
You know, hot rods and street machines have come a long way over the years. Matter of fact, most are done to such a high level that they're superior to what you can buy brand new. But whether you drive something like this or a brand new vehicle, there is still an age-old problem that can rear its head from time to time, and that is overheating. You got big engines, small radiators, reduced airflow, air conditioning. All these things can add up to give you problems on a hot summer day or in heavy traffic. Fortunately, Royal Purple has got a solution for that. This is called Purple Ice, and it's an additive that actually reduces the surface tension of your coolant and allows it to transfer heat better. And at the same time, it lubricates and protects your whole cooling system. The best part is, all you gotta do is pour this stuff in and forget about it. Purple Ice will take care of the rest. One of the best engine designs to come down the road in a long time is the Chevy LS series engine. I mean, it offered incredible performance potential in a small modern package. The problem with that small modern package, though, it didn't look very cool. It had the coil packs on it and plastic intakes, engine covers, all that kind of stuff. Well, Holley decided to do something about that, came out with a whole line of parts to make your LS go faster and look better. Check this out. First up, they've got engine mount brackets so you can put an LS engine in your project. Then they've got aluminum oil pans. They've got a low-profile dual quad system if you want to run carburetors on an LS. They've got all kinds of headers. They've got a tunnel ram system that'll fit carburetors or fuel injection. And if you want to hide those coil packs, they've got these coil pack covers that you paint up. they'll slide right over the coil packs and it'll make your engine look like a big block Chevy. If you are planning a project with an LS engine, or if you're in the middle of one and you want to give it that old school look and performance, Holley is where you need to go. You know, a lot of guys are wanting to use a modern hydraulic clutch system on their project because it's clean and it's simple, and they really don't want to mess with that old mechanical linkage that got in the way of everything. But the thing you don't want to do is just hack something together, because that'll be more of a problem than the mechanical linkage. Well, fortunately, American Powertrain has got a solution for you in what they call their Hydra Max hydraulic clutch system. Look at this. It starts out with an adjustable mount for the firewall, so it'll keep everything in alignment. You got your master cylinder. Then you've got your choice of reservoirs, from the plastic to this cool billet aluminum one. And then down on the transmission, they have this special throwout bearing that's all pre-bled, so you just bolt it on and you're ready to go. Of course, it comes with all the lines, all the hardware, everything that you're going to need to convert a 4-speed, a 5-speed, or a 6-speed transmission to a hydraulic clutch. If you are serious about driving a standard shift hot rod on the track or on the street, American Powertrain has got the parts and the know-how to help you do that. Come on over here. I got something to show you that'll help you with your project. Now, most of you guys are familiar with the project planning book. It's a great way to keep track of your project, the things you've done to it, keep it on budget, and that kind of thing. But one thing the planning book didn't have is a way for you to keep receipts with all of your information on your vehicle. So, we have come out with the Deluxe Project Planning Book. Now, this has got all the same guts as the original book, but as you can see, after each section, there's a plastic little container here for you to keep the receipts. So the brakes, receipts for your brakes, there they are. The glass and weather stripping receipts, right there. This is a great way to keep it all together. Also, we talked to a whole bunch of insurance companies. Man, they're loving this thing because it allows them to do a nice appraisal on a classic vehicle and do a claim on a classic vehicle if they need to do some replacements or some repairs or that kind of thing on it. So this can really come in handy down the road, not just building a vehicle.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Air Raid, American-made quality and performance since 1992.
I got a question for you. Would you take on this as a project? Well, if your answer was no, you have probably forgotten what it's like to be 13 years old, because that car is the project of this 13-year-old kid. Yeah, it's Robert Crockett from Bethel, Maine. Now, it's a '69 Torino 428 car, and him and his dad were looking for a Mustang, but when they saw this Torino and it fit Robert's budget, which was small, they went ahead and jumped into it. Now, in spite of what you're seeing in these pictures, they actually got the complete car, except for one very important part, that 428 Cobra Jet engine. As you can see here, Robert is doing everything he can to try to get him one. Robert, I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to work a deal with your dad. Get yourself one of these Boss 429s. Now, during this time, Robert's dad was showing him how to work on this car. You can see here in this shot, he's welding in floor pans. His dad's showing him the mechanical aspects of it. Robert's actually building this car. Now, Robert's goal is to have the car rolling and possibly running by the fall of this year. So this kid's realistic. He realizes you're not going to build a car in a week. And he ends the letter with this: I've got to get to work, make some money for this project car. And guess how Robert makes his money? Mowing lawns, yard work, and collecting bottles. Man, what a great kid. So Robert, to help you out, we hooked up with our buddies at Air Raid, and we are going to give you something of theirs, which means you can go through their catalog, pick out what you want, and it's yours. Might even be something you can work a deal with your dad, you know, help you get one of those engines. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this, you got to go to StaceyDavid.com. Go to the What Are You Working On part of the page and show us what you got. As you can see here, it doesn't matter if it's done or not. We just want to see what you got so we can share it with everybody else. All right, that wraps it up for today. You see what we've got going on here. It's now your turn to get out there and start cranking on some wrenches. We'll see you next week.